Carolyn, I accidentally muted you because I'm trying to mute these people coming in. Rachel, if you could mute everybody, that would be great as they come in. Thank you. You're off. Carolyn,
I should be back in. I unmuted.
Okay, thank you. You
Okay.
are. Yeah, you are.
Welcome, everybody, to the Dr. Carolyn Dean live radio show featuring Dr. Carolyn Dean. Join Dr. Dean for the next 2 hours along with her host, cohort, and good buddy, Ginny Sanders, also known as Ginny Almighty. Join Dr. Dean as she shares with us her vast range of experience, knowledge, talent, and wisdom. Phone lines are now open, and we'll be taking your calls from around the world and here in the USA.
Welcome everyone to Dreamvisions 7 Radio Network, uniting humankind with universal love. This is Ginny Sanders, also known as Ginny Almighty. I'll be your co-host tonight, along with the absolutely impeccably, incredibly wonderful Dr. Carolyn Dean on our live 2-hour podcast, YouTube, radio show, internet program. We don't care what you call it. Just call it. Just come be with us. We're so happy you're here. And we're going to have such a great time these next 2 hours because I know Dr. Carolyn Dean, and she has got a big, wonderful box of amazing information for you. Mitochondria, magnesium, cellular energy essential is our topic tonight. But you guys, that's just the beginning of what's going to happen on this show. You're not going to want to miss a minute of it. Now, let me tell you about something about Dr. Carolyn Dean. For those just tuning in for the very first time, we welcome you and we say thank you for joining us. Dr. Carolyn Dean, obviously known as the author of the #1 bestseller, The Magnesium Miracle, which has been revised several times and is known internationally around the world and spoken in so many languages, truly as the treatise of magnesium. And what does that mean? It is the treatise of health, I must say. I honestly must say it's the truth because magnesium is required in so many cellular functions and all the rest. And, you can't have a doctor talking about the foundations of health unless, number one, they believe in health themselves. And honestly, I must say, based on my own personal experience, most doctors believe in disease. As a matter of fact, I'll even go one step further and say most doctors believe in disease and viruses and pandemics and stuff. Not our very own Dr. Dean. She believes in health. She is the epitome of health. And I'll tell you another thing she knows unilaterally is that you cannot change your health until you change your beliefs about your body or something you're doing and why it's not working. It's just that simple. Health and beliefs all go together. Vitality and well-being, physical, non-physical, the labyrinth of the mind. She is a complete physician. She's got all the buckets laid out, and she knows how to help divvy them all up and get everybody going in the right direction with her complement formulas, of course. So we've got the biological aspects, we've got the emotional aspects, we've got the unseen aspects of spirit, whatever you'd like to call it. Non-physical is what we call it. And she knows how to just rightly divide everything so that people feel improved. And she is a wonderfully inspirational leader as well, inspiring people all around the world to take charge of their health, make choices for yourself and your family that make sense. And she empowers you to do it through your own discernment. She's going to lay it out for you, her wisdom, her knowledge. She's going to break it down, tell you what she knows. And then she's going to say, hey, but guess what, Ginny, you have a right to choose. You have a right to decide. She's not going to foist anything on you. But on the other hand, If you want her to voice something on you, maybe just a little bit, she'll twist your arm. But for the most part, she lets you choose. I'm just teasing. So anyway, we're so happy you're here. Let me just say, this is not a medical advice show. We cannot do that. That's against the rules of the alphabet people. But what we can do is tell you what Dr. Dean would do if she were in your shoes. And a lot of times she has been, because she is her own living experiment. She is her own living art, expression, authorship, statement of faith. I mean, she just lives it every single day in every single cell of her body without fail or exception. I've never seen her falter or fail to deliver the most integrous presentation about what she knows and how to achieve the most basics of what can be achieved with the body, which is health, vitality, well-being, joy, and aliveness. And she does it all the time. I'm just so honored and proud to work with her and to present her to you this evening. Welcome again, our very own Dr. Carolyn Dean.
And there are the children who usher me in, and they usher Ginny in too. I'm sure Ginny is pressing that button before she even gets on the radio show to get the children all geared up. Right, Ginny? That's what you're doing. Yeah, I know. That's
funny.
And Ginny, as a pastor, you would know, is this Easter Monday?
It is Easter Monday. Yes, ma'am.
See? So it's still Easter. So let's go through just a couple of happy Easter messages. And what this series is, Diana sent a message to Melody Rose. And Diana said, I'd like to wish you, Melody Rose, your family, Dr. Dean, Ginny, and the rest of the team a beautiful and blessed Easter and our Passover. May you all be filled with hope, renewal, and growth. I, for one, feel blessed to be a part of the RNA Reset customer family. I feel that I am enjoying an easier journey as I heal daily with Dr. Dean supplements. Thank you for your support in the past and enjoy a beautiful holiday. Best, Diana. Sweet, sweet, sweet. So then one of our customers, so this was amongst the customer service folks, and one of our people said, thank you, Melody Rose. Diana is a good customer. When she first started, she was in dire need but could not afford a bottle of Remag. I purchased one and sent it to her as a gift from me. She took it from there. I have done that several times. It can make a big difference in people's lives sometimes. Small gestures, big difference. Now, isn't that the sweetest thing in the entire world?
Yeah.
I mean, Ginny and I do that, quite frequently. Send out to people, and our customer service person just did it, out of the goodness of their heart. So I thank you very much. I'm not going to name the person, just to keep that confidence. Then another customer service person said, "What a wonderful blessing to hear on Easter. Many blessings to all of you and the amazing experiences we see and hear from amazing customers. Happy Easter." I wrote, I feel blessed to have such a wonderful group of inspired and inspiring people involved with saving lives. And someone else wrote, AWE, we are so blessed to be able to be inspired every day and knowing that the possibility of a customer to recover their health and vitality is just a moment away. We adore you, Dr. Dean, and love sharing the frequencies of the products and the love of our coworkers. Happy Easter, and the best is yet to come. Isn't that awesome?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's just as every old day around RNA Reset.
Mm-hmm. Uh-oh. Your phone just blew up. You got too excited there. Yeah.
No, I just said it's a standard day at RNA Reset. I mean, it's a beautiful expression of who our team is and who our customers are, but we really get to just live in that zhuzh all the time. It's incredible.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. And before I get to the blog, just a quickie. I'll do the blog and then I have some more sidebars, but I was triggered by Ginny saying most doctors believe in disease. They believe in viruses and pandemics and all that goes with it. And today I read an article about a study on the COVID phenotypes. Everyone's getting all excited. They're all kinds of different varieties of COVID-19. For Pete's sakes, coronaviruses are responsible for 20% of influenzas, and they're always phenotyping away into different aspects of themselves, and they will do that. The more we vaccinate, the more they will have to change their little body parts in order to avoid the vaccination attack, or the attack by the antibodies when you're vaccinated. So anyway, phenotypes are going to happen. It's just natural. But everybody thinks, well, this is something new and dramatic. And it's almost like medicine is setting people up for having a vaccine every 6 months to deal with the next phenotypes. So just watch for that. And then when I read this paper toward the end, because I was looking, what are they treating, COVID with? What are they using? What's the standard? And this article actually said treatment options are sorely needed for COVID-19 patients. So far, only one pharmacotherapeutic agent, dexamethasone, a very strong prednisone, cortisone. So far, only dexamethasone has been linked with reduced mortality in at-risk individuals. I mean, it's just unbelievable. What about ivermectin and hydroxychloroquine and zinc and then, vitamin D and zinc that gets absorbed well, and high dose vitamin C and pico silver. I mean, it's just unconscionable that our public health system is not letting people know that there are treatments for COVID-19. So it just continues to boggle me that this abuse continues. I don't know what to say other than just expose it a bit and let people realize that we're being led down a pharmaceutical pathway that should not be necessary if a person maintains their health and their immune system. I mean, this is the best opportunity for our public health system to say, look, we got all these comorbidities. We have to stop the sugar intake for the diabetes. We do have to get on a regular exercise and lifestyle program for the overweight. I mean, we have to get on the nutrients that support the body at the cellular level. And the very basic cellular level is actually mitochondria. And that's the topic for today. You'll see it in your email today that Ginny sends out. And it's also at the top of the homepage at drcarolyndeanlive.com. Now, mitochondria, if people don't know, I've said the name a lot because that's where our energy is produced, and that's where magnesium works very hard to make ATP energy. 6 of the 8 steps in the Krebs energy making cycle require magnesium. It's just obviously crucial. That mitochondria themselves are a double membraned bound cell. They call it an organelle. So there's, a little round, kind of round, squat organelle that generates most of the chemical energy needed to power the cell's biochemical reactions. This chemical energy is stored in a small molecule called ATP. And mitochondria contain their own small chromosomes. And generally, this mitochondrial DNA is inherited only from the mother. And the origin of mitochondria suggests that they are descended from specialized bacteria that become incorporated into the cytoplasm. And I think it's a double membrane that protects them and makes them kind of special. And then they become these specialized energy units. It's fascinating if you want to read about mitochondria. So, as I mentioned, the magnesium's role in mitochondrial function, it is known in scientific circles. If you look, if you go to Google Scholar or scholar.google.com and just type in mitochondria and magnesium, it's, 100,000 studies, but none of them are really clinical studies. They're all in the research stage, testing animals and doing this and that. But so clinicians have not gotten up to speed with the use of magnesium for mitochondria. They still think of magnesium as a laxative. And that's what has been holding magnesium back in the medical community, is this thought that, oh, it's just a laxative. You give, doctors will tell their patients to take it for this and that, and they'll come back and say, oh, well, it gave me the laxative effect, so they stopped using it. And that's where Remag differs from all the other magnesiums, because it doesn't cause a laxative effect. It's processed into a picometer sized magnesium ion that's stabilized to the point that it just hangs around as this ion and gets swooped up into cells. So anyway, magnesium and as a non-laxative is what people require. Continuing the blog, commonly known as the powerhouses of the cell, the major role of mitochondria is to produce ATP energy in the Krebs cycle using magnesium in 6 of its 8 steps. But its other roles include calcium balancing, which requires magnesium, natural cell death. You have to, as you're building new cells, some of them have to die off. And that's triggered by magnesium affecting the telomeres. Free radical species generation is hastened by magnesium deficiency. So in its cycling, ATP is doing these things. It's creating cell death, and magnesium help balance that. It creates free radicals, and magnesium attenuates that. It scavenges radicals assisted by magnesium. It helps make steroids in the body, and magnesium helps that. And it orchestrates metabolism, which is also helped by magnesium. So it's kind of integral. I don't know that all the science is out about the biochemical pathways for these things that I just mentioned, but the fact that there's so much magnesium in each mitochondria, it shows in the different functions of the mitochondria that it's utilizing magnesium, because it's right there. Our bodies make energy by breaking down food into glucose that then creates an electrical charge that is sent across the mitochondrial double membranes, making the inside of the mitochondria negative, and the space between the 2 membranes, that becomes positive. This turns it into a battery. And the battery changes adenosine diphosphate into the energy molecule, adenosine triphosphate. Probably too much information, but I find it fascinating. So then we come to the mitochondria failing to perform these processes and mitochondrial disease results. However, there's no single test that can diagnose mitochondrial disease, but apparently researchers have identified nearly 300 different known genetic causes of mitochondrial disease. So here again, this amplifies the difference between the science of the mitochondria that focuses on genes and treating mitochondrial dysfunction, I would say, with magnesium. When people are deficient in magnesium, all these things that I mentioned just aren't going to work properly. So it looks like you have a mitochondrial problem. And when you look at NIH report on dietary supplements for primary mitochondrial disorders, it didn't mention magnesium as being used at all. In fact, they mentioned supplements and said, well, we can't prove that. So, they're just paying lip service to the possibility, but they ignore the most important mineral that's found in every mitochondria. So then they talk about the first mitochondrial DNA disease that was identified 30 years ago, created a whole new field. But because doctors don't look at nutrients as the building blocks of the body and of mitochondria and of energy, they're just all too keen on making it a genetic disease. And that, of course, makes people think, well, it's genetic, there's nothing I can do about it. One thing they do focus on, though, is that exercise is very important. It does help increase the number of mitochondria, and it can help shift the level of genetic errors in the mitochondrial DNA. So that's good to know. And of course, that's going to happen because, when you exercise, you're increasing your oxygen, you're increasing your utilization of glucose. So in order to cope with that increase, then the mitochondria are going to work harder, only if they have enough magnesium, of course. So to increase your mitochondria, exercise, but make sure you're taking your REMAG as well. When it comes to nutrition, magnesium saturation and specific vitamins are very important to the functioning of the mitochondrial electron transport chain and all of the enzymes within it. The nutrients that are recommended are the B vitamins, which you find in our Realign, antioxidants such as vitamin A, which is in our omega-3 A plus E, and our vitamin C's in our Whole C Reset and our vitamin C Reset, and of course magnesium, which is our REMAG. So I don't know how much more we need to talk about this. It's basic. Ginny was really concerned, actually, because she noted that there were articles talking about COVID affecting the mitochondria and causing a certain type of either mitochondrial disease or showing that people who had some sort of mitochondrial problems had worse effects from a COVID infection. So, Ginny, do you want to say a little more about that? Because basically the treatment for COVID-induced mitochondrial dysfunction is to take magnesium, I would think. What do you think, Ginny?
Right. Well, that's what it looked like to me. I mean, that's one of the reasons I wanted to pick it up. And in the very beginning of the COVID thing, you talked about the GTPase and how it would cover the outside of the cell. So we know we've got the magnesium on the outside of the cell with protein enzymes that are protecting first, let me just ask. I mean, the vaccine doesn't actually have antibodies in it, right? It's got genetic material in it, right?
Right. And it forces the body, it actually forces the body to make viruses. And then those viruses stimulate the antibodies to get rid of the viruses. That's how I understand it.
Right. So you've got this little piece of genetic material and it's running around in your system and it's knocking to see what cellular door it can open to go in and rip off that DNA and duplicate itself to make itself alive. Is that right?
Sounds correct.
Okay. So on the outside of the cells, you've got magnesium with the protein enzymes, GTPase, and those guys are standing there like the watchmen, and they're knocking the genetic material is knocking, and it's not going to let them in because they're fortifying the cell on the outside. So then let's say that you only have a certain amount of magnesium maybe, and then what they're saying now is that when you get, let's say they did get inside the cell, the next thing that's really not great is that they can get into the mitochondria and actually start doing ridiculous behavior.
I see. Right.
And
Right.
so there's two kinds of mitochondria, I guess. There's your DNA mitochondria that tells cells how to replicate, and then there's nuclear mitochondria that are in the environment. So both of those are susceptible to being compromised with this this genetic material. So if you have your magnesium on the outside, and also you've got your cell membranes fortified with the omegas, very important. You've got your omegas, your lipids, your lamp is burning, so to speak, your oil in your lamp. So you've got those together. And then if they do get in there for some reason, then you've got the bam, bam of remag on the inside. I mean, this mitochondria thing is big, wouldn't you say?
Right. And actually it exposes, just by the very nature of mitochondria, originating from bacteria and then being incorporated into our bodies. We know that genetic material can incorporate into our bodies. So with this vaccine, which is genetic material, we're incorporating that into our bodies, and it's in there, and we don't know what it's going to do. So there's that aspect as well, how we're kind of playing God with this genetic material, as well as exactly what you're saying about the, if we protected our cell membranes, if we had enough magnesium, if we had the vitamin C and the antioxidants to help when the body is fighting its battles. A lot of the battles that the immune system fights, they turn bad for humans when you can't clear off all the toxins that are produced in the battle. But the vitamin C and magnesium and zinc is in there too, as antiviral, antibacterial, and all those things help decrease the Herxheimer reaction from the die-off. Pico silver is huge in that it helps the Herxheimer effect. It helps neutralize all the toxins that are produced when the body is fighting an infection. So there are so many things that people can do, but nobody's hearing about them except a few people on our show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why you got to share, you guys. Seriously, share this information. We're on YouTube. We're here, Dr. Carolyn Dean Live. We've got every mechanism to share this information. And I just posted the link to the Frontiers organization, the article about mitochondrial disease. And it's funny because it really does mirror all the comorbidities that are susceptible, which is your hypertension, your obesity, your cardiac issues, any kind of a lung problem, all these kind of places where the weakened immune system is going to fall prey to these viral attacks. So it's pretty comprehensive. I just posted it on the YouTube. So you guys can see what mitochondrial-based immunity is and age-related diseases is the name of the article.
Very good. Okay, we only had one blog question because it's a very specific topic, but it was about what's the best magnesium for mitochondrial disease. And the person that wrote it is Donna Gates. I don't know if it's our body ecology Donna Gates, but Donna asked or said, there's so many options for magnesium taurate, threonate, glycinate, chloride, oxide, malate. No one addresses this. Can you please explain in the talk tonight when to use each one and which one of these is the best for the mitochondria. Would a blend be best? So Dinah hasn't heard us speak about Remag as the best absorbed. All of these magnesiums can do something in the body, but if they're not absorbed into the cells the way Remag is, they're not going to get a chance. Oxide is only 4% absorbed. We're doing studies now to compare Remag. It originates from a magnesium chloride, but it's stabilized as an ion of magnesium, and the size of it is tiny enough to go straight into the cell. So it's all about absorption. And people don't go into, well, which is the best, because it's just about the absorption. Even magnesium oxide at 4% for someone who's terribly deficient in magnesium, the oxide will help. But then the laxative effect is pretty huge with the oxides. So I think that's the difference. That's the the bonus point about Remag is that it'll be fully absorbed. You can take enough to take care of all your magnesium deficiency symptoms. I mean, I used to get the laxative effect on 50 milligrams of magnesium, 50. And when I finally got Remag created with a brilliant chemist, I was able to take the 1,200 milligrams I require to saturate myself and get rid of my heart palpitations, leg cramps, neck pain, insomnia, etc. And so there. What do you say to that, Ginny? What do you have to add about Remag absorption?
The absorption thing, I can't add anything, but I will add this. And this was a big aha moment for me of understanding why, say, a magnesium glycinate is claimed as the best magnesium for sleep. And what happened about all that was when clinicians tried, or did not try, when clinicians did do a study on, say, insomnia magnesium, what they had to report on was the type of magnesium they use. So if they use magnesium glycinate, then what happened was magnesium glycinate was the best magnesium for sleep.
Right.
And then if they did magnesium citrate for muscles, then it's the best magnesium for muscles. And then if they did this for blood pressure, then it was magnesium taurate is the best for blood pressure. And that's how it got all discombobulated.
All right. It depended on the magnesium they used. And when they used the threonate, with a 7% difference compared to, it might have been a citrate. Apparently there was a 7% difference in the cerebrospinal fluid in rats or mice. They said, oh, it gets, threonate is the only one that gets into the brain. And every day we get customers or potential customers getting in touch with us and saying, well, I heard that it's only magnesium threonate that gets into the brain. So it's an uphill battle for people to understand what's going on, because just like we're in the industry, we're doing our own studies, but it's not just on Remag. We will do comparisons and we will put out this information because we have no idea what is actually going on. In fact, in the beginning years of magnesium research, there was quite a brilliant businesswoman who owned a magnesium oxide company. Now, I've already said that oxide is only 4% absorbed, but she gave probably thousands of bottles to researchers, and they did their studies on oxide and they found it was useful. And to this day, doctors see those papers and say, oh, I guess that's the one we have to recommend, the magnesium oxide. So just like Ginny said, whatever was used in the study is what they market to the public.
Yep. So that's how that happened. So going back to Donna, what's most important, as Carolyn said, is the absorption. So all these other, if it's a pill or a powder, you can just toss it out. That's my short answer. I'm like, forget it. Why even bother?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, very good. Okay, moving on, got a few other things. Again, shocked by Medscape quiz about electrolytes. They didn't even mention magnesium. I mean, it's no wonder people are dying of heart disease because you absolutely, totally, 100% require magnesium to make your heart muscle pump and beat properly. And doctors don't even regard magnesium as an electrolyte. And that's got to do with the testing is not accurate. And that's another branch of the studies we're doing, is to prove that the ionized magnesium testing must be used to get proper identification of magnesium deficiency. Then I came across a few things. I know we talk about, the building things up from the ground, the cellular level, the structure and function of the cells, but there are a few people that talk about the root cause. And it triggered me because I don't know, I suppose the root cause, anybody can say those words, but there was not a doctor, but Douglas Kaufman, Kaufmann, and he was very big on fungal disease. And I learned about him when I was studying with Dr. Crook about the yeast overgrowth. And he created something called Know the Cause. Roby Mitchell is a friend of his, and Roby caught the yeast overgrowth bug. But then I looked at Dr. Isabella Wentz, and she talks about the root cause in her hypothyroidism. And this is where she goes into all the, depletion of nutrients, poor digestion, iodine overuse, infections, gut and the gluten problems, adrenals, the other triggers, food triggers and intolerances and toxins. So, the whole long list. And then I came across Morley Robbins, who he tried to become the magnesium man for a while after reading my book. And then he went into, it's all about iron toxicity. And then it became copper toxicity. So he was trying to create a name for himself by trying to identify what was the root cause. And Ginny, when I looked at his protocol now, he starts with 12 things you have to quit. This is not the way to get people involved with a treatment protocol, because the way we do it is we add our nutrients that are well absorbed. They're the building blocks for the body. They make you feel better. And then you can start removing things. But many of the things he's talking about, I mean, some of them are okay, but just quickly to go over, he tells people to stop taking iron supplements. Well, maybe people with anemia do need some iron support. So they have to stop iron supplements. He says to stop taking vitamin D3 supplements. But what we've learned from Grassroots Health and testing our patients, if you need your vitamin D to protect from many things, but you need it with magnesium. You need to take them together. So it's not a matter of just quitting the vitamin D. He said to stop taking calcium supplements. And yes, for some people that's true, but you have to define that. He says to stop taking zinc supplements, which, that's not a great suggestion in the middle of COVID, when we really need to have our zinc as an anti-infective. He says to stop taking molybdenum supplements. Now that's in our Remite, and it's very important for detoxifying yeast toxins. And then stop taking 1-a-day multis, stop using synthetic forms of ascorbic acid, citrate, and citric acid. Actually, he's very against ascorbic acid. And the reasoning there, it's because, what was it? Oh yeah, vitamin C complex has tyrosine, and tyrosine is important for the thyroid, and ascorbic acid doesn't have tyrosine, but that doesn't mean anything. You just take vitamin C complex and get your tyrosine, or get your amino acids elsewhere. It doesn't mean that ascorbic acid is dangerous because it doesn't have tyrosine. I know I'm getting a little complex, but there's just so much here. Now, he says to stop using high fructose corn syrup, of course. Stop using soybean oil and canola oil. Yes, it's better to use olive oil and coconut oil and butter. Stop using fluoride. Yes, we recommend that. And he says stop using colloidal silver as an antibiotic. So I don't think that's appropriate, but our Pico silver is better than colloidal silver. But, people get these messages, and it makes this list of rules that, as I'm showing, can be, partially debunked. And stop eating low fat, high carb, processed, refined foods. So for the most part, that's true. And then he talks about, what you do take, mineral drops, adrenal cocktail, which I don't agree with. Take whole food vitamin C, I do agree. Take magnesium, of course. Take cod liver oil. I'd rather go to the omega-3s. Take whole food vitamin E. Well, we're getting that in our omega-3 A plus E, etc., etc. But then it's a whole list of taking bee pollen, rice bran, beef liver, silica. He says to take boron. Well, that's in our Remite. Take taurine. That's in our Realign. Take iodine supplements. And that I don't agree with, because it throws out the other 8 minerals necessary for thyroid hormone production. So this iodine business, taking iodine supplements, Jenny came across that recently, following some of Dr. Sherry Tenpenny's work on vaccines. And she's recommending high dose iodine. What happened there is a Dr. Brownstein about 30 years ago started testing people for iodine, and finding that people were not saturated with iodine. And he began treating iodine as a medicine, not as a kind of a balancing mineral. And what I realized when I was making Remite, our multiple mineral, was there are 9 minerals that are necessary for thyroid hormone production. And if you take a lot of iodine, you actually start siphoning your other 8 thyroid minerals into the downstream metabolism of this excess iodine. In other words, you take iodine, it creates a biochemical product that requires the next mineral in order to metabolize it. And you just use up all those minerals and start creating all kinds of different problems that will, most of them never be attributed to excess iodine. So what happened with the whole high dose iodine experiment, and there's books on the market that talk about taking 50 milligrams of iodine and 12.5 milligrams, whereas the RDA that we work with is 150 micrograms. And that's enough to get the thyroid hormone production balanced. It's not like you have to cure everything with high dose iodine as a medicine. I mean, it's good for fibrocystic breast disease. I actually worked with a doctor in Ontario, Dr. Gent, Gent, who did that. But I had the experience with people who became his patients and didn't come back to me. And then at the end of the road, develop problems. So you can't, the only thing you can do high dose, I say, is magnesium, because if you've got too much, you have the laxative effect, even Remag. Okay, so when they talk about the high dose iodine experiments, a few doctors gathered several thousand cases of people who had good outcomes using the 2.5 milligrams and up to 50. However, these people were not scientifically followed. They were just, oh, come into the office, take this. The ones that did well came back and said, oh, I did well. And that became a positive. So we'll mark that down. The people who do not do well do not go back to these doctors. They do not. I mean, they would come to me and say, oh my gosh, I had this terrible experience with high dose iodine. I don't know what to do, etc. So we've got to be wary of these anecdotal, even if there are several thousand cases of, a dozen or more doctors doing this treatment will develop cases, and people who have good results will tell their doctors. So, I mean, that's just an overview of, what the root cause people are going after. They're just lists and lists of everything. This iodine business, you can't use iodine as a medicine, and it just reinforces where we are at, which is treating yeast overgrowth and using minerals that have become depleted, and using minerals to support the structure and function at the cellular level. And there are a few other things as well, but when we're able to start with Remag and get people sleeping better and more relaxed and having more energy, then we move to the next step of, well, let's take some of the other nutrients. Your yeast is coming up. Okay, let's treat yeast. So to me, it's an easier fix, and it just makes sense. And I'm going to ask Ginny, what do you think, Ginny?
Well, I think you're brilliantly perfect and wonderful. I know that Morley is a hospital administrator and not a doctor. I know that it's okay to go on the internet and do some research and think you know things. I don't think it's appropriate to be writing a protocol for people unless you really have practiced medicine as you have. You're not practicing medicine now because you're the CEO of a wellness company, so it's a little bit different. But certainly over your years of radical transformation and yourself being a very healthy person, it's difficult also, I think, to take health advice from a person who's unhealthy, and Morley's very unhealthy. So there's just a couple things going there that kind of put me on my teeth when I hear his kind of thing. And I agree so much, because you've always, always, always said that people do not have the energy to make changes when they don't feel well. And, you have always been adamant about the fact that people need to boost their energy in order to go make the sustainable changes, lifestyle wise or other, and that they need in order to move or whatever, or feel better, or even give up a food that they're attached to for their comfort or something of that nature. So I completely have been, taught by you. You have to get your building blocks, and then you go through the process. And to just write a blanket, quote unquote, prescription that you eliminate taking things, without a much more balanced approach, I don't agree with either. So Morley, and that cream of tartar thing is weird, and all that with that adrenal cocktail. I mean, that's just super weird too.
Right. Yeah. It's like home cures, whereas, even at the time when I had Remag and made Remite, I told Morley about them. And, when you're in your own thing, maybe recommending your own products, even when something is obviously, better, you tend to stay with what's yours or what you've got. And it is a shame because, people, they are being misdirected, and I'm sure people are getting better, but it can be easier on them. It really can.
Yeah. I just love you because are we there?
Yeah, there's something that happens every once in a while. I don't know if your microphone, it goes blip, 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 blip.
Oh, it does. Oh dear.
Yeah.
I'll have to get rid of this headset. Probably crummy. That
That's
gives me a reason to go shopping.
your third headset that you've had to get rid of, I think. Oh my gosh.
I'll have to get my nephew James to go with me and help me do something legitimate instead of just hauling off and buying something on Amazon. I don't even know what it is or if it's going to work.
Well, let me just say to Ginny, but I'm just on my Mac computer, my MacBook Pro, and I have my headset plugged into my computer. It's got the little microphone on the side of the dangly strings. That's all I do. I don't have a big headset or anything.
I don't like to stick those things in my ears, so I have to have one.
The truth comes out. Okay, moving on.
Too much information for the audience. They're like, oh my God, you two, get a room, okay? It's a private conversation. But anyway,
right.
So but I will get a better situation. Sorry about that. Sorry for the feedback. Let me just go to Sovereign Solutions questions, because she typed in last week. She's got a question on the chat, and she's also referring to the Morley conversation, which maybe she has had the experience of working with Morley or being somehow being advised on that. So let me just do this. So one of the things she said is last week, she commented about how she was taking 10 drops of magnesium. So she increased her drops to the full dose, which is a half teaspoon. And she woke up the next day with horrible anxiety. She said her hands and feet were sweaty and clammy. She had no idea this could happen. So she decreased it back to 20 drops, and so far, so good. She said she bought the vitamin C, but when she takes it, she notices that's pretty intense. And then she also said Remite is on her counter, but I'm scared to take it because I'm so sensitive. And then she also mentioned Morley, the iron guy, says we don't need any ferritin. Is that true? My ferritin is 29, and I was wondering if that contributed to my PVCs. So I guess she does have PVCs. And then she said, he thinks we shouldn't have stores of iron and that it all should be in circulation. It confused me so much.
I know, it's like Morley, he loves information, and I think he loves to show people how much information he has, and it confuses and even scares people. When I think I blogged back to him when he was going on about vitamin C being bad, what was going on with all that. But to get back to Sovereign Solutions, think about what you did. You went from 10 drops to, what would it be, 60 drops. So, you blew it by overdoing it so much, going from 10 drops to half a teaspoon. So that just kind of revved things up. There's 1,000 different enzyme systems in the body that require magnesium, and when you start petting magnesium into those cells, they're going to rev up. And if you're already kind of fatigued and anxious, they just make you think that you're more anxious and more hyper. So you did good to go back to 20 drops. And what you do is keep with that for, 5 days a week. And if things are stable, then increase to 25 or 30 drops. And that's what you do to slowly build up. And the same with the vitamin C. I don't know if you took our whole C reset. I imagine you did. The vitamin C, it's going to support the adrenal glands. I think that would be where you're saying it's pretty intense. Maybe it just kind of stirred up the adrenal gland. So you can open that up. I think it's pretty tasty, actually, and just take a little bit of it, and slowly build that up. In terms of the remite, what you can do there is put 10 drops on your neck, where your thyroid is, and let it absorb through the skin and start it that way. And in terms of the ferritin and all the rest of it, what I do, instead of telling you how bad this and that and the other thing are, with the way the formulas are put together, and you get your magnesium, and you get your vitamin C to help with what is it, the whole ceruloplasm business. Let me see if I can find my notes, because it's very important information that you brought up here. Sovereign ceruloplasm. Because it's a matter of getting all the nutrients lined up there that are going to help take care of the iron, let's say it that way. So ceruloplasm is the major, actually, copper carrying protein, but it also plays an active role in the metabolism of iron. So, Morley got to thinking, oh, iron is the problem. And then copper's the problem. But if you have enough ceruloplasm, it binds up free copper, free iron, and that means they can no longer be involved with free radical formation. And the thing that helps support ceruloplasm production, that's got to do with magnesium and vitamin C, and I think there are a few other things. So I guess what I'm saying is, having done this work for 50 years, I understand all the layers. We learned about excess copper 30 years ago. And when I created the formulas, I put into, the formulas what I had learned. And it just made it a lot easier than people taking single nutrients kind of in a medicinal level, because that's what the iodine people started to do. Oh, medicinally, this will help the breasts and it'll help the immune system and everything. Well, we've got some iodine for the breast, but we've also got vitamin D. We've also got magnesium that reduces the calcification of breast lumps and gets women into trouble. So I think I've found, I've just got too many articles on all this, but I guess suffice to say that the nutrients that we would like people to take will help balance out their iron overload and help take iron out of the system so that it doesn't cause this imbalance. And the whole ferritin thing, ferritin is another marker for iron storage, but it's not so much iron storage, it's the free iron that's running around that you want your ceruloplasm to take care of. Very, kind of intricate, but I guess what I'll say is just keep taking your supplements, build up on them, realize you are sensitive, but take it easy and keep in touch with us. This is wonderful, you chatting into us, and we can answer questions and give out information that helps everybody. I found some other words, but we're at the top of the hour. We'll continue this on the other side. So please stay tuned.
Yes, stay tuned. Absolutely. And we will talk about that calcification. And one thing about calcification really quick, topical remag right on the spot. So the body has its own priorities. We can't say what it's going to do with the remag. You have to trust that your body is going to put it in its most beneficial places. So you may have something visibly you can see on your neck. You may have something internally that the body knows about. This is where we say, trust the intelligence of the body. And with that, we'll be right back for hour 2 with Dr. Carolyn Dean.
And Ginny.
We'll be back with hour 2 of the Dr. Carolyn Dean live radio show, along with host Ginny Sanders, right after this brief station break. You can also get updates and resources online by visiting drcarolyndean.com. That's drcarolyndean.com.
Did you know there are 65 health conditions associated with magnesium deficiency? Magnesium deficiency is a public health crisis growing in scope and proportion. Dr. Carolyn Dean, author of The Magnesium Miracle, has identified over 65 health conditions associated with magnesium deficiency, 100 factors that lead to magnesium deficiency, and 24 reasons why magnesium deficiency occurs. Order The Magnesium Miracle today at Amazon.com and learn how to remedy this pervasive condition.
Do you have questions about your health? Are you wondering about alternatives? Do you ever wish you could have 5 minutes with a doctor you can trust? Someone who is an internationally recognized authority in the field of natural medicine? Meet award-winning doctor, naturopath, and best-selling author of The Magnesium Miracle, Carolyn Dean, MD, ND. Hear a wealth of information designed to empower listeners and callers to discover how to improve health, vitality, and well-being through a variety of safe strategies and nutritional options. Dr. Carolyn Dean Live. Shows can be heard every Monday, 7 to 9 a.m. Eastern, with weekly live shows, 7 to 9 p.m. Eastern Time on syndicated Dreamvisions 7 radio network.
Natural health, vitality, and well-being. Yes, everyone wants it, but not everyone is sure how to achieve it. Dr. Carolyn Dean's Completement Formulas are more than just dietary supplements. They're whole foods and picometer minerals designed to complete your nutrition, not just supplement it. Experience the difference Dr. Dean's formulas make. Visit RNAreset.com to learn more. That's RNARESET.com.
Omega Institute, offering workshops, retreats, and online learning dedicated to awakening the best in the human spirit. With more than 40 years at the forefront of holistic studies, Omega is known the world over as a trusted source for integrated approaches to personal growth and social change. Located in Rhinebeck, New York, just 90 miles north of New York City, Omega's natural environment and quiet pace allow for extraordinary experiences to unfold. Learn more at eomega.org or call 877-944-2002. Again, 877-944-2002.
This is Dreamvision 7 Radio Network, uniting mankind with universal love. Our shows are created from the heart, bringing each listener to a place of divine enlightenment. Breathe, relax, and enjoy. Let life flow.
return now to the Dr. Carolyn Dean live radio show, along with her host, cohort, and good buddy, Ginny Sanders. Phone lines are open during live broadcast.
All right, everybody, back hour 2 live with Dr. Carolyn Dean here on Dreamvisions 7 Radio Network. So happy to have you guys with us, and of course on YouTube, and of course throughout all the podcasting universe, and of course our website, Dr. Carolyn Dean Live, where you can go back and see all Carolyn's former radio shows. You can listen to, type in resources and get her recommendations for affirmations when you are working through a situation and you want to release it. She's got a whole lot of things there, all the free books that she's got for everybody that you can read through and notice her recommendations and get some of these historical factors and perspectives like she gave earlier just on ferritin and ceruloplasmin. It's an unbelievable cornucopia of information. It's something that I feel should be in the Smithsonian or something of that nature. I feel that every single person should have to be listening to Carolyn's radio show, quite frankly. And of course, I'm biased, but nevertheless, it's all there for you to share and enjoy for yourself. And we want you to do that. The other thing I want to say is if you're listening to this podcast in the future at any time, we want to help you get the answers to the questions that you may be coming up with as you're listening to the show. And so again, questions, questions, questions at drcarolyndeanlive.com is the best place to go for Melody Rose, our Vanna of the radio show. Will get all your letters organized for Carolyn and she'll send them off. She'll get personal responses and she'll be there to help you. So please do take advantage of that resource. Melody Rose is an incredible resource and she'll be happy to help. I'm going to ask Sovereign Solutions, as a matter of fact, to use that email, questions, questions, at drcarolyndeanlive.com to correspond with me. Just put in the subject line for Ginny radio show, and then I'm going to get your email and I'm going to write you back some of the answers to the things that you're talking about putting it on your skin. I've got a video for you about how to do that and other things like that. And I'm going to skulk around and see where my Remag lotion bottles are that I hid somewhere for somebody who needed them in an emergency. And I'm going to see if I can get you one. So please just email that to me and I'll take care of it. Alan says, Ginny, you are not biased. You are correct. Everyone should listen to our very own Dr. Carolyn Dean. And I say, thank you, Alan. You are correct.
Very sweet. Very sweet. So I did find my notes about copper, ceruloplasmin, and iron. So I think this was an interaction I had with Morley, going back and forth with him. And, he's saying vitamin D can deplete ceruloplasmin. Now, ceruloplasmin requires vitamin A for production, but you need vitamin D to keep vitamin A balanced. And that's where we finally got our omega-3 A plus E, and we have our D3K2. So when you have your vitamin D and your vitamin A, then you will make ceruloplasmin, not deplete it. That's what we're looking at. It's like, vitamin D can deplete it, but you balance it with vitamin A, et cetera, et cetera. Stress depletes ceruloplasmin. And that's why I recommend Remag to decrease stress reactions that lead to chemical changes in the body. When you have stress, you produce ACTH. This will stop the production of ceruloplasmin in the liver and in the brain. When ACTH is high, magnesium is low and vice versa. ACTH is adrenocorticoid something. I better look that up. And what we're looking at, just to remind people, is the ceruloplasmin is necessary to help bind up extra copper and extra iron so they do not negatively affect the body. So ACTH is adrenocorticotrophin hormone, and it's a hormone made by the pituitary, and it pushes the adrenals to make cortisol. And actually, the cortisol, I just was talking to someone this weekend about cortisol in diabetics will actually, in people whose diabetes is controlled, if they get under a lot of stress, they will produce cortisol, and the cortisol will release their glycogen stores from the liver and increase their blood glucose, and they go into high glucose. Okay, then we've also got zinc supplements, lower copper levels. That's where I balance off our zinc and our remite, the copper and zinc in there. But if people are taking extra zinc because of the viruses, that should not affect their copper levels, because what we have is kind of a lower dose zinc that we advise that is fully absorbed, rather than the 200 milligrams that's recommended with hydroxychloroquine. We're just recommending 20 milligrams, maybe 40. So it's really not high dose zinc. High fructose corn syrup, yes, it causes deficiency, diminishing the production of ceruloplasmin. And you do need copper to make ceruloplasmin. I think people may recall in their reading that copper is said to be toxic in our environment now, and in people, copper plumbing, women with copper IUDs. But at the same time, you need some copper. I mean, I have notes here about copper being required in 50 different enzyme processes, part of the transport proteins that shuttle hormones and neurotransmitters, protecting the lining of blood vessels and the myelin sheath in the brain, supporting energy production. So I think any one of these minerals, you can talk about them and there's, oh my gosh, I really need that. But if you just look at that, get focused on that one thing like the high dose iodine people did, then you lose sight of the other important nutrients and the balance that you have to achieve. So anyway, I think that's enough of that. That is enough of that. And we go back to the notes for today. Ginny, I have talked so much. I'll turn it over to you in the chat and YouTube and the phones if you like.
Okay. First of all, our very, very wonderful and brilliant Peter Johansson is listening from Scotland. Carolyn, we love Peter. I was reminding him that we're coming to Scotland next June 2022 for our Magnesium Research Conference, where we're going to be presenting our REMAG paper to the international group of REMAG researchers. And we're also hopefully going to be presenting information from Grassroots Health and our study participating there on the understanding of nutrients and the value of supplementation. That's what everybody's contributing to. And let me just remind new listeners that we are participating in the Grassroots Health Research Study. You can get more information on it at rnareset.com. If you are within the sound of my voice, you can participate in that study at no charge. If you're a radio show listener, Dr. Dean will sponsor your first test kit, which is a $212 value, but you must complete the study, which means you have to do the questionnaire onboarding, and then you've got to submit your little report every month. But what it's going to do is it's going to give you the baseline for your nutritional program where you are with your magnesium, your vitamin D, your omegas, and also your thyroid. And then through the supplementation with the Remag and all the rest of our protocols, you'll actually be able to see how supplementation improves your markers. And that's what we want to prove, that supplements do work, because they kind of get a bad rap every once in a while. Well, not Dr. Dean's, but other ones do. So please email questions, questions, at Dr. Carolyn Dean Live. Same radio show email, and let Melody Rose you want to participate in the radio show, and she'll make arrangements to have the kit sent to you, and then you can get started. So that's incredible, because now you don't have to guess where you're at with all your levels. And so that's part of our research project. And then we have a very exciting thing happening in Colorado. Should we talk about that?
Sure.
Okay.
Yes.
So speaking about how much we love our customers, we have this super cool and groovy group of customers out in Colorado that just happen to be semi-professional mountain bike racing people. And they're engineers and doctors, and it's kind of their weekend groove to get on their bikes and race around the hills in Boulder and Denver and stuff like that in those altitudes. And time themselves and compete and do fun contests and things like that. And so they started using Remag about 1.5 years ago, 2 years ago, and they have documented their incredible performance improvement, performance enhancement in actually riding their bikes. And this is so much fun, because people think of performance enhancing drugs as steroids and fun things like that. And of course, it's just Remag. And they got so excited about it, they asked if we could do a research study with them to track all of them around and follow them through the hills of Boulder and prove how great Remag is for a performance enhancing mechanism for muscular and cardio performance in these kind of athletes. And so we're doing it, aren't we?
Yeah. And Taylor even wants to do biopsies for mitochondrial function. So he's big on mitochondria too.
Yeah. Yeah. So we've got, so that's just a blast. So we just every single day, but you know, what's a blast about is our customers calling us and saying, it's not like we're out to quote unquote prove anything. It's just like, we really want to prove this. It's like, okay, we'll prove it with you. You know, that's the fun thing about it, is our customers wanting to do these great things. So it's our customers doing the grassroots health with us. It's our customers who are doing the study. We did our first research project at Purdue to protect our customers, because we knew how great Remag was, and we wanted to give them evidence to share with their doctors so that they didn't get lumped in with every other crazy magnesium pill out there, which Remag's not a pill. And so we did that for our customers. So it's all about our customers. And we're just super excited about everything that's happening. So that's in Scotland. So we're going to find Peter, and we're going to bring the sunshine. And because he says sometimes it can be gloomy in Scotland. And then we're going to have a blast there.
Not when we're there. It'll be awesome.
It'll be awesome.
With my Scottish genes, you know, if they're not Scottish, they're crap. We all know that.
I love it when you say that. So that's going to be so much fun. So we'll by then, Carolyn and I will have figured out how to do Instagram Live or something, and we'll probably beam ourselves back to the States and figure out a fun way to do the radio show or something. But we will keep everybody in the loop. It's going to be a complete and total blast.
Yeah.
Okay, back to the chat questions. Somebody says, I apologize if this has already been discussed, but I just turned in. This is Debbie. Are there any supplements that could help with whole body inflammation?
Well, we talk about total body meltdown, Debbie, you know, if that's sort of the feeling you have. And there is a booklet at drcarolyndeanlive.com called Total Body Meltdown. And we begin with Remag. Magnesium is a very important anti-inflammatory. If you don't have enough magnesium in the body, the calcium takes over, and calcium tightens things up. It makes things move. It does its job, but it tightens up your muscle, and then magnesium is supposed to relax it. If you don't have enough magnesium, your muscles stay tight, and then they cause the inflammation. Your nerves keep firing, and then they cause inflammation. And there's also a toxicity level of body-wide inflammation that can be the yeast overgrowth. I'm always going to go to mineral deficiencies and yeast overgrowth. But what you start with is hydrating your body. And you take your body weight in pounds, divide that in half, drink that many ounces of water a day, and build up to putting a quarter teaspoon of a good sea salt with some good color in it, so that we know it has minerals. A quarter teaspoon of sea salt in each liter of your drinking water, and that'll start flushing out toxins. Then you're taking your Remag, and you're supporting 1,000 enzyme processes in your body that include detoxification and getting your energy back, getting your muscles relaxed. So that's our protocol. That is our protocol for pretty much everything, right? Right, Ginny? And she's talking away, muted.
No, yes, it is. And another thing I was thinking, Carolyn, was how funny it is how it works, and then how funny it is when people like me who take for granted that it works don't do it the right way, because
Oh yeah, tell us about your little experience.
Yeah, my experience going to the cardiologist just for silliness, and no particular reason. I just do it every couple of years, and my blood pressure was so outrageously high, it was ridiculous. Granted, I did have to wait for him for an hour and 15 minutes, which is probably another part of my radio show story. But why should you wait for any doctor for an hour and 15 minutes? I mean, that's just ridiculous, right?
Yep. Right. Yep.
An hour and 15 minutes, he made me sit in there and wait, and just to come in and tell me my blood pressure was, high or whatever. But then I called Carolyn and I said, hey, what's up with that? And she said, well, how are you taking your Remag? And I said, well, I take a little in the morning, but mostly I just shoot it in a big squirt at night before I go to sleep, because it helps me sleep. And she said, you're not sipping it throughout the day, and your blood pressure is going up. So it's so true. So I started doing exactly what we tell everybody to do. I just started going back, just sipping it through the day. And of course, my blood pressure is just fine. So there is a method to the madness. Really just the saturating your body with water, starting the trace mineral sea salt is going to start to little spark plugs in the cells. You're going to add the Remag. It's going to start to move the calcification through, and then you're going to feel better. And after that, it'll be, what else can I do? What else can I do? What else can I do? And then finally it'll all start to toggle and feel good. But
yeah, it's like people get addicted to feeling good, and they just want to keep feeling better and better. It's universal. It totally is. And we appreciate that, because we have the next steps. Don't just think that Remag is your only option and just treat it like, oh, this is my drug, I'm going to use it for everything. It can help 80% of known metabolic functions. We know that. But if you want to feel even better, then you're going to, what's the next one for people who are very toxic? It's Realign. This is our gentle detox, taking out the trash. For the hypothyroid and low adrenal, that's your Remite. And then people who aren't getting their nutrition, especially the elderly, because we're talking about Restructure, our protein powder, because with the elderly, they're given Ensure, which is just straight sugar. So you want to work with that. And RNA drops, that's our catalyst, our life force, our human fertilizer with probiotics. and it catalyzes all our nutrients. So that's where you start.
Yep. And then you just keep hanging out. Yeah. And then maybe eventually one day you'll feel good about something and you'll do something else. And it just keeps going. It's really fascinating. I mean, it's really incredible.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Okay, Carolyn, should we take some phone calls?
I think we should, or we're going to get shot.
Yes, by the people who've been waiting forever. So if you're on the line and you want to talk to Dr. Dean, you've got to hit *9 on the keypad to let us know you've got a question or comment. Phone number 646-558-8657. And then the ID to call in once you get in there, 8836953587. That's on the screen here at YouTube. It's in our emails. It's everywhere, and you should be able to get it easily. It's also on the front page at Dr. Carolyn Dean Live. I know that's a lot of numbers, but that's okay. We work with it. And people still call in, bless their souls. So if you'd like to talk with Dr. Dean tonight, that's what you're going to want to do. And we will go to area code 214 first. 214. I've sent you the blue button. Just *6 to unmute your phone, and you can come in and talk with Dr. Dean. Area code 214. Hello, hello. Welcome to the call.
Thank you. Okay. Well, I found Dr. Dean quite by chance when her book on atrial fibrillation came up as a Kindle suggestion for me. And it was only 99 cents, so I bought it, and then I finally got it read. And in February of 2020, so just a little over a year ago, I started taking the Remeg and the Remite. My basic problem is PVCs, which I've experienced, ever since I was pregnant. I was 30 and pregnant. I started having them, and that was 35 years ago. So, but other than that, I'm really healthy. But every once in a while, I also have episodes where my heart races, and then when you add the PVCs in with that, it just feels like my heart's galloping. Mm-hmm. And last night I had a really severe episode where I took my blood pressure and it was like 170 over 121 or something, and my pulse was 141. And so it was just really scary. I do take, a while ago, I've consulted with a cardiologist, on and off throughout the years. And, he finally put me on metoprolol, 25 milligrams, that he gave me permission last August that if I want to, wean off of it, not really wean off it, but stop taking it if I felt like I didn't need it, then I could do that. So, because I was feeling like the Remag was really helping me. I only did one or two bottles of the Remite because I was taking some other supplements, so I didn't want to have too many minerals. So, but I've kept up with the Remag, and I'm taking 2 teaspoons. I am one of those people that's very sensitive, and I will get a laxative effect. But I guess I got used to 2 teaspoons, and I'm not having that effect most of the time. So I'm just wondering, is there something else I should be doing? Because I still have the PVCs in spite of the metoprolol, in spite of the Remag.
Okay, so, sure. And what's your first name? We didn't get that.
Oh, Diane.
Okay, Diane. Okay, so you've given me your age and a very good history. And are you sipping your 2 teaspoons of Remag through the day in sea salted water?
Yes, I am.
Perfect. Have you read the updated atrial fibrillation book? I expanded it. I call it Heart Health now. And one of the additions is our new Pico Potassium. And in the atrial fibrillation book, I talked about, you have to eat potassium broths. You better be careful about your potassium. But most people weren't getting enough potassium. So that's definitely going to be important for you to download the new edition. It's called Heart Health at drcarolyndeanlive.com. And personally, because I had PVCs and tachycardia, and I'm taking 2 teaspoons of pico potassium, and I was on 4 teaspoons of Remag. I only need a teaspoon and a teaspoon to a teaspoon and a half now, and I get no PVCs, nothing. And
That would be so great.
yeah, so you're not saturated yet, Diane. That's all. Diana.
Okay.
Yeah, you're not saturated
Diane with an E.
with an E. Yeah.
So how long does it take to get saturated?
Took me a year and a half with 4 teaspoons.
Okay.
Right.
And I haven't been taking 4 teaspoons, so.
And I don't know if I want you to, because you've already expressed the laxative effect. I mean, I used to have terrible laxative effect, before Remag, trying to get magnesium from other things. It's possible you could increase the 3 and then put the other teaspoon on your skin, or, when we finally get our Remag lotion back, use the, build it up on your skin. But it's just a matter of getting enough to saturate up, right through your heart. That, to my mind, the way you've expressed it, that, you've gotten benefits, perhaps, you're getting a little more benefit when you had the Remite, because it does have some potassium in it. And, there's a lot more that could be going on. Gluten can cause heart palpitations,
I'm
sugar. You're gluten free, right?
And I'm pretty much sugar free also.
Good. So read the heart health book and then see if you
Okay.
have questions, because there could be other things. I'd certainly like you to be on some of the other products, but I'll just say for now, the potassium's going to help you, maybe 3 teaspoons of Remag, and then you'll see as you go along, maybe there's a toxicity issue and you'd need the Realign. Maybe there's some yeast overgrowth and you might need the Flora Revive and the Pico Silver for yeast. So just keep learning about it and don't give up. You haven't even plumbed the depths yet. You're just beginning, and which is positive information, because it means there's more you can do. And and the metoprolol, that's basically to kind of dampen down the tachycardia, but it's not curing anything. It's just suppressing.
Right.
And if it's
I get off, but
right. So I'm glad you called in. I mean, we've got you covered, but we have to know what questions you have to be able to help.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I guess my thing was, I just want to know, like, what else can I take that could make a difference?
Yeah.
So,
There's plenty of things. So you're going to start with the potassium and do that, and then slowly increase your Remag. Just take 2¼ teaspoons for a week, and then go to 2½, and your body will get used to it. And I say to do the potassium first, build it, with that. I mean, you could start with probably ½ a teaspoon and build up to 2 teaspoons, and that will make your magnesium work better. And if you've still got, symptoms you want to deal with, then you increase to the 3 teaspoons of Remag.
Okay. So do you think getting back on the Remite, I should do that? Or
well, I mean, I would. I mean, our age, you need support for the thyroid and the adrenals, and that's what the Remite does. Do you have any evidence of hypothyroid, like cold hands and feet, anything like that?
Not really. I mean, I had one of those what do you call thermograms, and my thyroid wasn't as hot as he would have liked it.
Right. Yeah. Well, then you
I'm
can
not overweight.
Right. But if, the thermogram shows a lower metabolic function in the thyroid, then you can support that with the Remite. Yeah, that would.
Okay.
It's always going to be helpful, because we just aren't getting those minerals.
Okay.
Mm.
Well, I hated the way the remake made my water taste, but now I see where you have that vitamin C powder to put in there to clear that taste.
You bet. I mean, I'm putting a scoop and a half in mine because I'm taking like 8 teaspoons of all my minerals. So
Oh,
it is amazing. Yeah, do that, Diane.
okay. Well, thank you so much. I will get that book and read it and ask you more questions probably in the future.
Absolutely. Keep in touch. We love questions.
All right. Well, thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you for calling. Bye, Diane.
Bye-bye.
All righty. Beautiful call from Diane this evening. Thank you so much for calling in. Well, let's go to area code 586. 586, you're on the line with Dr. Dean. As soon as you unmute your phone, that's *6 to unmute your phone. There you go. Hello.
Hi, this is Deanna. How are you? Is this Jenny?
Yes. Hey, Deanna.
Hi, Jenny. Okay, and then Dr. Carolyn Dean. And so a pleasure to be able to call in and ask you a question. So anyway, I want to start out that I had cancer like in 14, and then it came back in 17. So in 17, I started really taking these organics. It's ORGANIXX. I started taking these supplements. And like they're 7M, they're multi, and they're Terminic 3D. And I want to say that I'm willing to let those go. I want you to tell me if what I should let go, because I'm on all your stuff too. So I'm on your Pico Silver, I'm on your Remite, I'm on your Remake, I'm taking the Realign, and I'm also taking a quercetin by another company, Global Healing, and their liquid zinc. So is it okay to take all this? And then I can add, I just heard from this other woman, you have now, what is it called that you just,
the omega-3, omega-3 with A and E. Well, what I'd have to do, Deanna, is kind of get a list of what you're on. I don't know the organics. All I do with people is I look at what they're taking and see if ours has similar. I know ours is better absorbed than anything. And then I just say, well, you could wean off this one, like finish that bottle and then replace it with what we're working with, because the more of ours you're taking, they all work synergistically. And a lot of the capsules have our RNA reset drops in powdered form. So that's what you do. You would just email, support at RNA Reset, say, Carolyn wanted to see your list of supplements to see what you could, wean off. And that's all. I mean, we never tell people to stop taking what they're taking, but just.
Well, no, I knew this because my daughter takes all your stuff. And so she's telling me, Mom, you got to stop taking these other ones and take her vitamins. And for this very reason, what you're saying, she works in the hospital. She's got a lot of sense with the medical. So, and I'm down to where I would need to order again on mine. So I'm ready to order yours if I need to,
Correct.
So you want me to write you at support at Reset. What was that again?
Support at rnareset.com.
rnareset.com. Okay. And then Carolyn, I'll write you there and you can let me know. I'm just assuming, I'd like to know what I should take on top of all this. What I should,
exactly.
I'm on only 2 teaspoons right now. So you're up to 8 teaspoons?
No, I used to be on 4 teaspoons for a year and a half, but several years ago, I had no more symptoms. So I just went to maintenance at 1 to 1.5. So it's not like you have to take more and more and more, because your body gets saturated and gets healed. And then you don't need as much. It's really cool. And
I love it. I love how I'm feeling already. In a month's time, I've been doing this and I feel great. And I'm at 2 teaspoons on everything except the silver. Tracy said, just take always 1 teaspoon of the silver. Is that right?
That's usually about right. I mean, I have yeast overgrowth, from forever. So I take 2 teaspoons. If I take only 1 teaspoon,
Oh.
I get an itchy patch on my back, which
Oh.
I'm sure is some sort of yeast overgrowth or something happening, or I'll get little boils in my nostrils. So it's a matter of just observing, if
Interesting. Yeah, that
yeah.
is. I am having a ball with this because I'm feeling better. I had cramping in my legs so bad, and it's taken
Oh,
away the cramping in my feet, in my toes. My toes would cramp in the back of my
oh,
legs,
oh,
and
that's
it's taking
horrible.
it away so nicely. I mean, it's there
Yeah.
just once in a blue moon now. It's not, in a whole month's time, maybe
Hmm.
just a few times. So something's happening. I know something. I feel good. I feel so
Yeah.
much better taking this product. So yeah,
Yeah,
I didn't want to
that's
keep taking everything else too if I don't need to. I'd rather take
yeah.
everything that you have, So
Yeah.
I'll write you and we can figure that out together. That'd be awesome. I
Yeah, that's
appreciate it.
wonderful. Let me just ask though, were you taking the organics magnesium?
No, I don't think they have. I don't know if they had a magnesium. I did not take that at all. No, I've just only stayed
Okay.
with their 3-power. Their 3-power. Their 7M, 3D turmeric, and their
Uh-huh.
multivitamin. And my blood tests were always coming back really well at the at the
Nice.
hospital there.
That's
So,
great.
but
That's wonderful. But yeah, they just weren't, or you weren't covering yourself with magnesium. And they do have a magnesium product, but none of them are absorbed as well as ours. So
that's what
yeah,
I just knew from
yeah,
talking with Tracy so much, and reading your
yeah.
stuff. I've read a lot about everything, so I really wanted to and getting, like I said, down to nothing here. So I want to be able to
Okay.
order something right away from you. So
Right. So
um
Ginny, will Deanna send it to you or to Melody Rose? How's that going to work so I can get it?
She just was going to send it to questions,
Okay.
questions at
Uh,
drcarolyndeanlive.com, and Melody Rose will get it to you.
uh, so it's a
oh,
different
okay,
email
I did send it in the email already
to
to
support.
questions.
Oh,
Not the
okay.
support, but the questions. I did send that. Yeah, what I'm
Oh,
taking
great.
right now.
Okay, great.
You should be able to find that. Yeah, under. I don't think it's going to be under. Yeah, it will be under Deanna. Deanna Gilman.
Okay,
It'll be
Deanna.
under.
Okay,
Oh,
well,
thank you. All right, I'll
yeah.
let you get on to the next one.
Okay.
Really
Thank
great.
you.
Okay, bless you
Okay,
guys. Bye
sweetheart.
bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Yay. Yeah, I'm looking at organic. So there's so many different companies, but it's hard for people to figure it all out. Okay,
Yep,
Ginny, what do we got next?
it is very good. All right, questions, callers at on the phone 646-558-8657 with the ID number that you need to get access. I believe we've gone to the phones for our callers that have called so far. *9 if you're on the phone and you want to talk to Dr. Dean. I think we already went out to area code, yes, 214. Oh, there we go. Area code 56. Oh, excuse me. Sorry, this is moving around so fast. There we go. Area code 740. 740. You can unmute your phone with *6, area code 740. And then we'll put, there you go. Come on in.
Hello,
Hello.
this is Naomi.
Hi, Naomi.
I've been using your Remag for like 10 months now.
Mm-hmm.
I built up to 2 teaspoons, but now I've been backing down and I'm on 3/4 teaspoons. I was wondering, can we get too much?
No, the what happens with magnesium, it's probably the only nutrient that when your cells don't want it, you get the laxative effect. So, or it goes out the urine or the bowels. So it's one of those ones that just doesn't build up. Like calcium will build up and cause constipation and everything. So why did you back down to 3/4 teaspoon?
Because I read that it makes the muscles more flexible, and I noticed that occasionally I was dropping saliva from my bottom lip before I realized it, and that was very unusual. And I thought, well, am I taking too much magnesium? And also, I had a little less urine control sometimes.
What are you taking in the way of calcium?
I'm taking MPAR Plus with calcium in it, but I'm not taking a lot of calcium.
Right, right. And do you eat dairy products?
Not at this point, no. I'm dairy and gluten-free. We're using the goat's milk instead of the dairy.
Yeah, good. Okay. And when you were on the 2 teaspoons, well, Empower Plus, it's going to have magnesium in it as well. So, that's going to be of some help. But Naomi, did you notice when you were on the 2 teaspoons of Remag if you felt any different?
Not really. I've been taking a lot of things because my hormones were all down on bottom.
Yeah.
But Remag was the only thing I'm taking from yours.
Okay. Right.
And I've always had a problem for years already, with constipation. That's why I chose to start the Remag. But at this point, I'm still taking 1 magnesium pill every evening, just to keep regulated.
Right. Well, I don't know what to say about, I've never heard people say that the Remag, affected their bladder, or like you say, the drooping of the lip. I would wonder if it would be better for you to start on the Remite for those other minerals, or even realign to help detox. But I don't have enough of a sense of what's going on. Can you send in an email, or would you rather talk to someone on the phone?
I can't do the email.
Right.
I would rather talk on the phone.
Right. But so let's.
I am working at the wellness center. That's where I'm getting that he tells me what vitamins, pills, and things to take for my low hormones.
Right. Well, I think what we'll do, Naomi, is introduce you to Julie or Melody Rose so that they can take your history and go over everything, just so we do it right and help support you. Okay? So, can we get your number from Paul Keim or somebody?
I would probably have to call in because we don't have a phone.
Right. So.
Taking.
Right. So, Ginny, what will we do? Give Naomi our 800 number and then organize the timing?
Yes, we can do that. Yep, we can do that.
Can you take down the number, Naomi?
Yes.
Go ahead, Ginny.
Okay, it's 888.
Okay.
577.
577.
3703.
3703.
And so what's going to happen when Naomi calls Ginny's? Would it be 50-50 that she'd get a message or get a person?
Oh, she's going to get a person. If she calls right now, she hangs up and calls right now, she'll get Doug, who's been listening to the radio show. And he would probably be able to help her rather quickly.
Naomi, would that work for you?
For right now?
Yeah.
Yes, I think it should.
Perfect. Okay, so Doug will take your call. He's awesome. Doug is wonderful. And he'll start the ball rolling. Okay?
Okay.
Awesome. Wonderful. Okay, Naomi, thank you so much for calling.
Well, thank you.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Hey.
Okay, wonderful.
I know. It's very cute. Very cute. Thank you, Doug.
Yes, hopefully he will. He's not on the phone. I'm going to text him real quick and let him know. He'll be right on top of it. Okay, let's go to area code 602, 602, star 6 on your phone to unmute. Hello, welcome to the show. Go ahead, please.
Hi. Okay, my name is Debbie. And okay, I'm a little nervous because I don't normally do this, but
take a deep breath. Take a deep breath.
Okay, I'll take a deep breath. Okay.
Yeah,
so
good.
I have used your products, the Remag and
where'd she go? Debbie, come back.
She excited herself off the phone.
Yes. Debbie, come back. There you go. Okay, go ahead, love.
Okay, maybe this is better. I'll take you off speaker.
Perfect.
Is that good?
Oh my gosh. You should be on the radio.
Why?
Because you get such a great voice.
Why, thank
but
you.
You are.
Thank you.
You are on the radio. There you go. You are on the radio.
There we go. Okay, so I've taken your the Remag and Remite for years. You know, like I don't know, past 3-4 years, something like that, which I love. So then I added your vitamin C and vitamin D, and then I listened to it was actually a recording of your show about, and I can't remember the name of it, but I think it was about gut health. It was about like maybe a month or so ago, a little over a month ago.
Right.
And and it really, kind of spoke to me because I have a lot of skin issues, like, eczema, psoriasis, but it's never been like a horrible issue. It's just chronic. It never goes away. So I got your Flora Revive and I added Pico Silver and Realign, and I kind of staggered the starts on them. So by now I've been on them for about a month, maybe a little bit more. And I've only been taking, I take the Flora Revive twice a day as directed. And then I've only been taking a half teaspoon of the
Silver,
the Pico, yes. And the Realign I take as directed. But I haven't noticed any big difference. I'm wondering if I should up the Pico Silver, and I don't know what really to expect. In fact, I feel like I don't think it's because of your products or anything, but I feel like it's gotten worse, or is it possible to get worse before it gets better, kind of a thing, when you're trying to get all that stuff out of your system.
Right, exactly. Well, that was what I was waiting for you to say. Oh my gosh, my skin is worse. What's going on?
Well, kind of.
Yeah, what's going on? And that's because, you're killing off, a few trillion yeast. So their yeast byproducts are going to have to dump somewhere. And we try to make it easier with the Realign, gently detoxing. The Pico Silver, I would up it to 2 teaspoons because that's what helps the die-off symptoms. It helps to neutralize the die-off, as well as, doing the killing, but it also helps reduce the die-off. And what you would do with the silver as well is put it in the spray bottle and spray the areas of your skin. And that's going to be helpful. Just to get, that it can be used for fungus, but also for yeast detox, rashes. Zymogen is the crazy name of a yeast byproduct that causes psoriasis. So that's very interesting to know that it can be just yeast overgrowth that's causing psoriasis. And Flora Revive it too. I think that's fine. You just stay there. So you're just going to increase your silver to 2 teaspoons. You're going to spray your skin, at least once a day. And just slowly get rid of the yeast overgrowth. You're not going to kill all your yeast. It's just, yeast is part of us. You just make friends with it and get it under control.
Okay. And is it okay to increase the Pico Silver to 2 teaspoons right away, or do I gradually do that?
Yeah, probably gradually, a half a teaspoon at a time every, 3-4 days. And have you had a chance to read my Reset the Yeast Connection book?
I did, yes.
Okay. So that, if you could sort of look at the questionnaire again and maybe fill that out and see what has improved, because sometimes we focus on what has not improved. But if you see that things are improving, it gives you a little more incentive to keep going.
Right. And that's the interesting thing, because when I did the questionnaire, really everything, like gut-wise, everything is really under control. And I feel, I've always felt great, but this skin issue is just ridiculous. And it just won't go. I've had some form of it for years, and, sometimes it's better and other times it's not. But I just thought, I'm just going to throw everything at it right now and see if I can get it finally under control. Because I remember hearing you on that show, and you said it took you a year to get yours under control or something about that. And I thought, okay, I've got a battle ahead of me.
Right. Well, that makes me think of the omega-3 fatty acids, because ADHD kids, autistic kids who have eczemas, they've studied them more than adults, of course, and they all seem to be low in the omega-3 essential fatty acids. Where would I have written about this? Probably in Total Body Immunity, because I write about the immune products. But what I'll tell you, what I wrote somewhere recently, there's 22 books out there, so sometimes I forget. It was kind of an experiment in Europe about children. What was it? ADHD increases. Where is that? It's a study. It's a paper written by a friend of mine, Helga Ferry. Okay. A couple women in the UK noticed that their ADHD children, I guess in school, were always a lot thirstier than other kids, but they had a lot less urine. Where did it all go? They had a lot of asthma and dry skin, and they, in the literature, they found that the skin is waterproofed through the action of essential fatty acids, which, like all vitamins, must be replenished daily through the skin. They concluded that the kids were losing water rapidly through their skin because the waterproofing mechanism wasn't working. So that, you translate that into dry skin, eczemas, and the essential fatty acids tend to be low. Now, what you could do is get our free testing, grassroots health testing. Go to, what is it? Supporter questions, Jenny, to get the free test kit, because one of the tests is the omega-3 fatty acids. And if yours are low, then you need, that's an indication of why your skin is chronically dry and irritated, and that, the yeast will just make it worse. That in order to heal up the rashes, you need to thicken up your skin with the right essential fatty acids. Isn't that cool?
That is.
Okay.
Okay.
And we've got to wrap up the show. Sorry to break it up, but you've got questions at Dr. Carolyn Dean Live is where you can come for your free kit. Just email Melody Rose. She'll get it taken care of. And Carolyn, you've got to say your goodbyes.
Oh my gosh. I don't want to say goodbyes. We should have a much longer show. But anyway, thank you so much, everybody. Thank you, Debbie. Great ending call. You're welcome. And goodbye, everybody. Thank you, Ginny and Rachel and Deborah and my Bobby. Bobby.
We love Bob. Bye, Bob.
He's waving. He monitors my show. Bye, everybody, and happy Easter Monday.
You've been listening to the Dr. Carolyn Dean live radio show. For questions about today's broadcast, email Dr. Dean at questions@drcarolyndeanlive.com. That's questions@drcarolyndeanlive.com.
This is Dreamvision 7 Radio Network, uniting mankind with universal love. Our shows are created from the heart, bringing each listener to a place of divine enlightenment. Breathe, relax, and enjoy. Let life flow.